Thank you. I'm going to show you some and discuss some issues regarding visions for 2030 data sharing and process improvements, as we also want to look in what is really going on by now and should be improved for the future for the processes which are established in intermodal transport. Next slide, please. In the concept of the project, we want to approach various fields for data sharing ecosystems. The one on the left is top is governance frameworks, which should explain what is the structures and roles of for the governance of such ecosystem. So that there's a framework for it to do it in a coherent way wherever applicable. Within this system or ecosystem is a contractual framework which needs to arrange between the stakeholders in the processes. So it's one important issue is data protection, so that not everybody is can approach each data everywhere. So confidentiality, but also reliability and data quality. Um, uh, the business framework for that is also how to run all these ecosystems. If there is something that can be done commonly together, which a service for all, how this could be arranged so that not everybody is doing the business himself, but in an environment, in a community which helps everybody. And finally, there's a policy and a standardization framework. We have, as always, standards existing, but we want to improve them as well. But also taking care that not each standard in a specific area or field is doing it alone, but also see the implications to other areas, so that the whole ecosystem with all the standards involved works together and is applicable. In the end, we want to create a roadmap for this, so that, as you know, improvements can take place, but it takes times. But we want to see a roadmap so that even if it takes time, that we do the most important first steps first, so in the right manner, and so that we are successfully in the end. Next slide, please. If you detach these areas in two main ecosystems, the one is a business one, so all the stakeholders doing the business in the modal transport, from consignor to LSP and combined transport operators, terminal operators, and rail undertakings. So what they need to share. On the other hand, what comes from the public bodies, authorities, the regulators, what kind of documentation they want from the business, so they can frame the infrastructure in a manner so that is what is needed for the business and its well-being. So Bridge sits in the middle of these two main ecosystems and one wants to bring them together, so that both together is doing a good result for the system. Next slide, please. If we have a look on the policy context, we can look for intermodal transport. We can look at this spiral starting on the top, which is an amendment of the Combined Transport Directive, so which is done to 2023. So this is directly attached to this business, but there are further fields which need to be taken into account, as Eric already mentioned before. The one is for the reporting for the public bodies in the electronic freight transport information (EFTI). So that we do not want to do more than needed, but there is a certain need to get a picture of what is taking place in intermodal business. Also, Eric mentioned the new TSI telematics being derived from the previous tough TSI, with a lot of implications for intermodal business, notably the terminals, and how to do all this data exchange in the area of rail transport. And basically in the um, infrastructure area. And furthermore, there's a regulation of the use of intermodal infrastructure capacity. So there is a need for to have uh, the tracks on the right time, on the right leg, so that you can run the business at the time you need it between the terminals. So we need to discuss this as well. And then the further part is also this initiative um, on the Common European Mobility Data, EMDS, which frames all these areas which is needed for a data exchange in the freight and logistic business in general. That is areas like uh, just a second. So like the business and funding models, data value and creation, and interoperability. And the overall outer frame is, of course, the Green Deal with greening the freight transport, so that we have also documentation that combined transport is doing well to environment and emissions as such. Next slide, please. If we look in the processes in a very uh, upper level, we have all these steps within the transport chain on the top, from pre-transport to delivery, and all the roles which are involved in these processes. And we want to see in this project what kind of exchange is being done between all these roles, and where it can be improved, what is needed on each by each role, so we finally get a common picture what's best for everybody in these processes, not doing too much but not having too little on the other side. Next slide, please. This is being reflected also what you can find in the latest version of TSI telematics. You find a number of all these interactions between the roles as well. Here is an example for the train running forecast, the ETA of a train to a terminal, for instance. And what you find in there is also a role called other stakeholders. And this is important. Player in this area is, of course, the logistic customer, the shipper, the consignor and consignee who needs the service and who wants to be known what is going on in the process. So next slide, please. When we have a look in the project, we have this work package 2.2 regarding the as-is project processes, and which is just taking place these within the last and coming 2 months. And what you find is a very big variety of technical solutions and the ways and channels being used for data exchange between the roles in the process. There's two very extreme examples. One on the left is more very traditional with emails and even phone and paper work. On the other hand, others have a throughout digital ecosystem which has not left any traditional way of communication. So there's still a big gap for quite a number of participants in the system to improve to digitalization of the data exchange. Next slide, please. If you look at the process as such, there had been established data formats like ADGES, and but what is being of interest is if you look at the need of the consignor or consignee, what he needs to know about the process. You can think of various possibilities on the left. If you just look at the main points in the process, if he just wants to know when the process has been done, when the intermodal loading unit is ready to be picked up, then all the rest is out of interest if there's nothing happening apart from the transport plan. The second option would be if he wants to know every single step, main step in the process, so which has been documented already in some systems, or on the right hand side, a very extreme example that he wants to have a very frequent update, let's say of every 15 minutes, what is going on in the process. So there's a big variety again of demand, what should be covered by a tracking and tracing system in a process. And next slide, please. If not everything goes according to plan, uh, what do we need to know about why is it not going according to plan? One example could only be that the customer needs to know that there is a delay or a disruption of the chain as such, or does he needs to know reasons for why it did it happen in the upper level of this main reasons coded, or does he even needs more details and attached to where does it take place, who was responsible for the deviation or disruption. So this is also something very much of interest, how documentation of the process should take place. I think that's so much from my side.